Right, I think we're up and running. What we're going to do is do this as I say, series of videos for you. One of the things that I want to really emphasise is the fact that you need to cut this work down into manageable lumps so that you don't overdo it and you don't frighten yourself. Always remember, tea as you go, but let's have a little look at what we've got here. This is going to be what you're going to see, basically the top of your beams on the boat as once you've ripped it all the deck off. Again, rip off only in sections that you can do at a time. I would recommend ripping off 2 board lengths at a time, so that when you can get those 2 down, and then you can get the one that's going to go across the middle of your joint, so that you've got then 2 ends to continue the next bit. So what you'll have is, bear with me, there'll be lots of this of me running away, but I will be back. So I don't disappear that far. So when you put this down, your sheets will go like so. So that will be your work area that you're going to do, however wide it is. Your next sheet will go on top, roughly halfway to halfway, so you're bridging this gap, yeah? And that will leave you basically an end bit ready to take your next sheet on or the next sheet over that gap. Yeah. Right. So this will be the top of your deck. Now, what I said about using thinner ply really applies to this. If you use the 1/2 inch ply, you're not going to be able to pull it down and get it to go and follow the line of the deck without a lot of pressure. And what you've got to remember is old boats, they don't like too much pressure. So by using the thinner ply, we're not going to put loads of pressure onto these beams and start pulling these beams out of shape. Yeah, so that's the reason for using the thinner ply on this. It's also so much easier to handle and cut. And if you do cock it up and make a mistake, it's cheaper. You're not, and you can repair it as you go along. So that's the reason I like doing this in multiple layers. So that's the reason for using the thinner ply. Right. Here's a section that we did earlier, as they say on Blue Peter. You wouldn't remember that, you're too young. But here we go. Right. When you're looking down from the top onto this beam, you want to clean it up really well. You're then going to brush on some low-vis resin and hardener. Remember, our hardener and resin mix is always 2 parts resin to 1 part hardener. So what you're going to be using is our low-vis resin with a medium hardener on this, because you want this to go off quite quick. You don't want to be hanging about and it's only going to be brushed on, so you're going to have plenty of time. Yeah. So that's you're going to be your first part of your work. Yeah. Any little cracks you've got or any bits of rot, this is the time to dig it out. Don't worry about digging out your rot. If it's quite a big bit, it's about yay big, sort of yay big. That'll be fine, because we can mix up some resin with some of this stuff, which you will get. It's a workshop mix. It is a mixture of 3 components, and bear with me while I rip this top off. Yeah, but it is a fine wood floury consistency. That mixed with the resin and hardener, you can make up quite a decent putty, so that any gashes and holes you can fill. Yeah, just remember to soak it out first with the resin and hardener mixed with a brush. We're going to come back to that in a minute. So that's your thing. So we're going to remember 2 parts resin, 1 part hardener. And that's going to be your golden measure all the way through this. Your next thing you're going to do is get your plywood. Place it on your deck and cut this to shape. Once you've got it cut to shape, somebody from underneath needs to go down and mark it with a pencil, both lines, so you've got an approximation of where your beam is going to run.